Welcome. Today we are exploring a brief introduction to logic. For this reason, we have distinguished three subtopics: logic and information, where can logic be applied, logic and language. Let's start with the first subtopic: logic and information. What can we say in this context? Information is everywhere, in our words and our world, our thoughts and our theories, our devices and our databases. And logic is a study of that information. In this context, we can ask next question: how can learning logic benefit us? In order to answer to this question, we can pay attention to the next questions. Does this hypothesis clash with the evidence we have? Or is it consistent with the evidence? Is this argument watertight? Or do we need to add more to make the conclusion to really follow from the premises? Do these two sentences say the same things in different ways? Or do they say something slightly different? Does this information follow from what is in this database? And what procedure could be used to get the answer quickly? Okay, our second subtopic is related to the practical aspects of logic. And our central question is, where can logic be applied? In computer science, it can be applied in computer science, in the study of databases, and in the interpretation of programming languages and algorithms. It can be applied in electronic engineering, in the study of digital circuits. Logic can be applied in linguistics, in the study of meaning of words and sentences. In mathematical domain, we can distinguish the study of proofs and models for different mathematical theories. And logic can also be applied in philosophy, in the development of fundamental theories about existence, or possibility and necessity. And our last but not least subtopic is logic and language. When you look at the history of logic, you see a lot of work about proofs, about models, about sentences, the way they relate to each other, how they can be derived or refuted, or how they can be interpreted. In this context, the central concepts of consistency, consequence, and equivalence. And what is consistency? Consistency: can these claims be true together, or are they inconsistent in that they clash and cannot be all true? For example, can the statements all books are interesting and some books are interesting be true at the same time? And what is consequence? What can we say in this context? Do these premises have this statement as a consequence? If we are committed to the premises of this reasoning, are we at least implicitly also committed to the conclusion? For example, do the premises all men are mortal and Socrates is a man require as a consequence of this argument the proposition Socrates is mortal? And our third concept is equivalence. When do different sentences amount to saying the same thing while expressing it in different ways? How can we show that two sentences don't say the same thing? For example, do the statements, if logic is interesting, I will study it, and logic is interesting only if I study it, mean the same thing? Okay, that's all for today's discussion. If you have got any questions, please feel free to address them